All right, welcome everyone to the interview with Sergey. We're going to dive into leadership questions, his upbringing, and his story. So I'm excited. We'll just start off with some of his awards and what Sergey is all about. One thing to note is that he is the founder of Capital Business Group, which is multiple companies like Capital Tech, Heartfelt IT, VA Desk. You have a new company actually.
Yeah, optimize websites.
Biggest award is, this is insane, Titans of the Industry Award for IT companies won the Canada category. I'm honored to be interviewing Sergey today and have him as our speaker for a leadership masterclass here in Ottawa. So Sergey, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Sure. So my name is Sergey Poltev. I'm a serial entrepreneur, as you heard from Joel, and looking forward to speak with you guys and deliver the leadership masterclass with Joel in March. So I've moved here. I'm an immigrant. I moved here 20 years ago with nothing to Canada, Ottawa. Found myself in a tough position. I couldn't find a job, so I had to go and start my own company. It was not easy, and I guess this is what made me a good leader. It made me a man who I am today, a serial entrepreneur, somebody who values that hardship. So I'm not looking for easy ways. I'm looking for experience. And for me, failure is an experience, and this is how I do things.
Awesome. And you came here with only $500.
Yes.
Yeah, he's very challenge driven. So let's actually talk more about Russia. So where did you exactly grow up in Russia, and what was the environment like?
Yeah, sure. I grew up in kind of southern part of Russia, which is, most people think that Russia is very cold. And yes, it's true. Not as cold as Canada, actually. In my area where I grew up in southern part, Rostov-on-Don. And I spent my childhood there. I got exposed to technology and computers at that early age. And speaking of technology, we're sitting in this room full of computers. Yeah. Computers are my passion, and really when I first saw a computer, I knew that this would be my profession, and it still is. And now with the AI, I'm kind of like getting excited again and again about technology. We had a VHS tape, a player at home, and I grew up on American movies. I watched American movies where that showed a different life. I noticed that the life in Russia was different than in the movies.
So. Yeah, how did you decide to leave Russia and come to Ottawa?
Really, I kind of always wanted to go abroad. I went to Europe first. I had a trip. My mom helped me with a trip to France first. So I exposed myself there. But really, I always wanted to go to United States or North America. And while I was still in university, I was an exchange student. And I went to US and discovered like first Apple computer, for example, that I never seen before. And this whole business and entrepreneurship. Came back home, started my first business in Russia, and then really knew that I want to go abroad. I want to achieve success. I want to start business overseas.
Okay, so now you just said that you started your first company in Russia. So when did you feel your first pull toward entrepreneurship? What brought you to start that company?
Well, I think it's when I was growing up, I went through a little drama. Well, it's kind of childhood drama. I had my father, unfortunately, got killed in a car accident. And I was the only kind of adult kid who would, support family. And I had to earn money somehow. I remember my first job was just delivering newspapers. But I remember I got introduced to entrepreneurship through some personal development books, and always was interested in personal development and business development. And I started my first company in Russia when we were building computers and renting the computer time. So think about this as a gaming cafe or internet cafe.
Okay. Yeah.
So people will come and spend their time using computer, and we were charging them by the hour.
Okay.
That's where I first saw, okay, computers are great, but I can actually make money with them. Then I had at school, I was doing cheat sheets and some other things on the computer. Always for me, computer was a way to kind of make money and grow.
You spotted this asset.
Yeah, it was an asset for me and not a liability, because I know some of my classmates were using computers just for computer games and pleasure. For me, it was more a machine to make money.
Yeah. So. Well, it's the opportunities, right? You see one side or the other, and you saw the profit side. That's great. And awesome. One last thing about your upbringing. So what was a defining challenge early in life and how did it shape you?
One thing I remember from my childhood, back to the VHS player and tape.
Yeah.
I had this movie. I was watching the movie multiple times, and that's how I actually learned English. And it's about the man who got stuck in the woods and needed to escape and survive, and there was bear. And he said that one phrase that I always remember, always kind of defined me as a man.
Okay.
He says, "What one man can do, another can do."
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's
and,
true.
and that meant like he meant that he knew somebody who was able to kill the bear and escape the forest. And then because of that belief, he knew that one man done this before, he can also do it. So this what defined me. And I know that if I'm looking at other entrepreneurs, successful people, role models, and if they've done this, I know for a fact I can do it too.
Yeah.
And that allows me to persevere and never give up. Because if something happens, I know there's so many other examples of other people who've done that. And I see other entrepreneurs in my field, like in the technical field, who are much more successful than me, and they're my inspiration. So.
Awesome. I like that. Yeah, you can visualize it now and you just know that, all right, it's possible. Okay, so now we're going to talk more about leadership because Sergey is a very well-known leader here in Ottawa. And I want to talk to him about more leadership questions and entrepreneurship. Before we go into the in-depth leadership questions, let's ask Sergey about his leadership journey. What was the moment where you realized I can't run this the same way anymore?
I guess it was maybe after being in business for maybe 8 years, I learned that I spent too much time doing things myself and I don't trust people as much. And it results in burnout and overworking, and people work so many hours and they're so busy. It affected me personally because I was not able to provide for my family, my time, and it turned into relationships issues and mental health issues and bad habits, and just the health was deteriorating. And that's where I realized that there's something wrong. Like, this was not the plan that I wanted when I first wanted to start the business. I was kind of like sucked into that business, and everything was on me.
And what was this with Capital Tech? Or?
Yeah. Capital Tech was it's my first original company, and it took me a while to get to the certain level because, again, I was in a different mindset at that time.
So at that point, you were 8 years in Capital Tech. Now, how many years are you?
18 years this year. So it's 10 years ago.
Okay.
I guess that 10 years ago, the shift happened because I didn't study entrepreneurship. I studied computer science. So I had to learn everything on my own mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of shaped me who I am today. And I'm looking at this completely different. And I want to share with other people as well.
You learn from experience.
That's right.
So you have real wisdom, which is why
street smart.
Yeah, people can, like my mentor as well, you can kind of understand when someone has the experience versus someone who's read it from books. So yes, big difference. And this is just more like, what's one mistake that was very hard that you've made, and what did it cost you, and how did you overcome that problem or objection?
The biggest mistake I think the leaders make is when they perhaps hiring the wrong people or partnering with the wrong people. It's hard to do everything yourself, but on the other hand, it's very hard to do it with the wrong team, the wrong people on your team. So for me, I learned the hard way. The part of hiring and retaining the right people on your team is very hard. That's another lesson I've learned. So I would definitely think about the cost of the wrong hire. It's way higher than you think. It can cost you the whole company reputation. It could cost you big financial damage, loss of clients. And so it's just really important to find the right team, the right people on your team. And before you hire somebody or partner with somebody, really think about it, like are they the right person for you?
Okay, that's a really good pointer. Yeah, this is a pivotal moment in your business, so take a lot of time before hiring. And all right, so one more leadership question. So we're still like in mindset. What's a leadership habit that you had to unlearn to scale?
Yes, so really delegation, perhaps. I don't know if you're, familiar with the Guy Kawasaki's model, where you have four type of people. There's employees, there's self-employed, there's business owners and investors. And I think you cannot scale as if you're an employee or if you're self-employed. You need to shift yourself into the business owner mentality. And to do that, you need to build team, you need to delegate, you need to multiply your time. You cannot have, like, we only have a limited amount of time. It's our biggest commodity. Remember, we were talking. So I think this is the biggest mind shift, is that you need to delegate. And I think this true leadership is the effective delegation.
Okay. So that would be your main definition of leadership.
Yeah, I would say I used to think the leadership is very complicated, but really it comes down to effective delegation and communication. That's really what it is. And you don't need to do a lot of work as a leader. You just need to delegate the right way and communicate the right way.
Awesome. Okay, now this is going to be more like in the business. So we'll go into 5 different small segments here. First one is, let's say, because I know now you really help business owners themselves as a person grow. So let's say you were to talk with the CEO of a business and you were to audit his business. So like when you audit a business, how do you identify the hidden drains on time, energy, and profits?
Yes, so I'm really looking at the bottlenecks of the business, and there's a couple of things comes to mind. First is to understand how this business owner delegates, and there's 3 bottlenecks that I can describe. The first one is the doing bottleneck, where you do everything yourself. The tasks are, even the small tasks, you're still doing yourself. It's really the issue. Second, the bottleneck is really the mental aspect. It's a trust, is the ability to delegate and give it to other people. So that's the bottleneck. And third bottleneck is more systems bottleneck. So if there's no systems, you do need to have systems in place. And then when you delegate to people, you need to give them the systems. You can't just tell them. So you need to have a systems. You need to have a right mindset, and you need to know what you should not be doing. It's just let go of things. Those are the 3 things I'm reviewing. If the company has systems, if they have the right mindset on delegation, and really reviewing what are they doing, what are the top executives and CEO does versus what they could be delegated to an admin, for example.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and I know that you've scaled your, now 4 companies, but all your companies with VAs. You really nailed down the delegation. And just now that we're talking about the VA, if you want to just talk about VA Desk a bit.
Sure.
How you guys help?
Well, VA Desk is I always knew that delegation is important. During pandemic, a lot of people went online and started working remotely. And I've actually had virtual assistant before pandemic as well. Basically, if you go back 10 years ago when I was completely at the bottom, like I had a business, but I was very unhappy. I had no time. I was working till 10 p.m. And that's where I realized I need to change my life, and I need to let go of this stigma of trust and do everything yourself. And I hired my first VA 10 years ago. And during pandemic, we already had a team of virtual assistants, not just one, or we had about 6 or 7. I had them in Philippines. Philippines is the country of choice for virtual assistants. They're the world class, I would say. If you hire somebody really good, you can hire VAs right now from Pakistan, some other countries. But for me, Philippines is the country of choice when it comes to virtual assistants, because they have a good culture of care, customer service. If you think about like banks, and they hire from there, but also nurses and caregivers and nannies are best from Philippines because of the culture of care. And that's what we started. I remember we were selling IT services. I'm still providing IT services, and we were doing phone services at the same time. And I was talking to one of my clients and about the phone system, and said, "Hey, do you want us to do the phone system? It's great. Your current phone system is archaic." And he says, "Sergey, thank you. But you know what? I don't need a phone system. I need phones answered. And,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, oh, okay, so phone system, you actually, and then I understood the true value of a phone system is not to actually have a phone, but having a live person answering the call or making phone calls. That's how businesses make money, is through communication with their clients and their customer service. And that's where we start doubling down on actually offering virtual assistant to companies. So now we're running full service virtual assistant agency where we provide full-time virtual assistants to companies. And it's not just an executive assistant, it could be a sales assistant, marketing assistant. It's a full-time dedicated remote hire. And it's really, it's a distributed worker. And I do believe that modern companies should adopt distributed workforce and give this workforce all the modern IT tools, cloud-based tools, and AI tools. Because with AI and distributed workforce, you can achieve so much more nowadays.
We're in an amazing time right now to scale companies. And take advantage of all the tools. Now let's go into kind of structuring without micromanaging. So how do you structure your business without going like micromanage everyone?
Well, I'll give you a quick tip. Is just really looking at your time. And that mindset of we have limited time is very important. I like to give an example of finding how much time left in the way, how many weeks left in your life. On average, a person have 4,000 weeks. So if you're midlife, you only have 2,000 weeks left. And there's really the time going to be running out. So it's very important how you spend your time, and invest in yourself, in your health is very important. So that's just kind of like a mindset. But I also like the idea of just when you do something, ask yourself, is it repetitive? Is it something that you do all the time, like ongoing? For example, booking calendar appointments or answering calls. If it's repetitive, that's the best thing to outsource to your VA. If it's more strategic is like an investment in your business. Let's say you're doing a budget or a plan, or it's related to business growth. This is where leaders should be focusing their time, or relationships building with the key people, or being on an interview or on podcast, or something that you cannot outsource is your voice, is the way you talk on the camera. You cannot hire somebody to talk for you. This is you. So I think this is really repetitive. If it's a repetitive task, even if it's every week, it's best to outsource.
Okay, and do you kind of look at your schedule as daily, weekly, or monthly, or like the year? Like how do you kind of?
Sure, it's actually looking at the whole year in the beginning of the year and plan the whole year. But yes, there's humans are creatures of habits, and we do need to create habits in our life. So like we all run by the law of nature of circadian rhythms. We all getting up in the morning, and we need to go back to bed.
Sergey wakes up very early. Like it's one of the person
not that early. 5:45 is.
It's 4 a.m.
Yeah. If you make the system, it's just much easier to run. You know exactly what's going to happen. But also, I find VAs or virtual assistants are extremely dependent on that structure. You need to give them structure. You need to give them those procedures and SOPs so they can run. So it's like birthdays, reminders for, let's say if you have 20 birthdays and they repeat every single year, it's a repetitive task.
Yeah.
So imagine, why would you want to keep this in your head? Get this automated, get this delegated.
All right. So we just have a couple more questions here. And all right. So what would be the first thing that you would systemize if you were to start a new company?
Good point. 100%. So I would love to systemize communication per se. There's two things as a business owner you need to do. You need to create a good product, and you need to let other people know about this product, So, and that's the secret to the business. Like the more people would know about your product, the more people would buy it or serve.
Communicating, like marketing or
marketing, communications. Okay. So we're talking about all kinds of different medias of communication, social media, writing, podcast, because you can set that up ahead of time, like right from the get-go, and you can automate all of that. You can immediately from day one. I wish when I started my business, I would start social media and my messaging and my podcast. But no, many people do this at the very end. So I like the idea to start with the communication and delivering your message across multiple different platforms. And nowadays you can automate most of it.
Yeah.
And no, seriously, you can have a software that does all that automatically with very little involvement, maybe an hour a day or an hour a week or so. You can just write the content, plug it in, and it just works for you. It's automation is very important, and that's the first thing I would put if when I start the brand. Even if you don't have a product yet, maybe just start talking about it online.
Wow. Yeah, I took a digital marketing course, and they were just like, get out there, start filming yourself. Yeah, it's very true. And so, yeah, start with communicating, marketing. And all right, let's end with one last question here. What's one non-negotiable in your week?
In your week or in a day?
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it in a day. And this is in general.
Yeah. Well, I like I start the day with the quick workout and the sauna session. I'm actually 10% Finnish from Finland. And I don't know how, but I did the DNA test. But as you know, lots of Finnish people use sauna. It's like their thing. For me, that's my non-negotiable. I get up, I turn my sauna on in 30 minutes. It's nice and steamy. I go in, and then when I walk out, that's my day. So that's one of my secrets of success.
Wow, that's awesome. So get yourself a sauna.
Yes, I highly recommend.
Awesome. So yeah, a lot of big takeaways from this interview here. But yeah, just trust, delegate, and get yourself a sauna. But yeah, definitely start systematizing your marketing in terms of scaling. He's talked about a lot of leadership mindset shifts. And yeah, so even if you don't have a product yet, you can still record yourself. You can still get out there. You can get started. No risk. And yeah, if you want to go deeper into this, on March 5th, we will have a leadership masterclass where Sergey will, I can let you talk a little bit more.
Yeah, we'll share all these practical tools on how to really start delegating. What should you delegate? Why you should be delegating. That's the mental part. This is very important. The biggest takeaway from this workshop would be that you will have sense of time freedom, sense of that business should be running by itself, not you running it, and you're gonna get lots of value from it.
Awesome. Yeah, no, like he told me the like a cost value for it. I'm not gonna say it, but it's like it's a crazy value. So yeah, be there. And if you're a leader and you want to go to the next level, definitely be there. And we look forward to seeing you on March 5th.